Well, good evening, everybody. This is Bishop Tavis Grant, the National Field Director for the Rainbow Push Coalition, and this is Justice for All. We're coming to you from Jacksonville, Florida. We have some dynamic leaders with us tonight. As you know, our nation has been rocked and rattled by social unrest, from George Floyd to Breonna Taylor, and now Devon Gregory and Diamonds Ford. And I want you to be very well acquainted, engaged, and involved. Go to our YouTube page. Go to Bishop Tavis Grant on YouTube. Subscribe to that channel, or Facebook, Bishop Tavis Grant, TavisGrant, and we are live for the next hour. You can like, share, and comment if this subject matter touches a nerve with you, as it has with millions around the country. We are fighting for justice for all. We've got some amazing leaders that I'm going to allow them to speak for themselves and introduce themselves and the organizations that they represent, because the fight is on, and we don't win unless we fight. And when we fight, we do win. And these are winners. They're incredible leaders, and I'm just so pleased and privileged to have them as part of our platform on tonight. And so, Nubian, kick us off.
Greetings, folks out there in Facebook land and YouTube land. My name is Nubian Roberts. I'm here living in Duval County. I'm an activist. My community calls me the mother of the revolution. I'm also an advocate for the formerly incarcerated. And I'm just really happy to be here. Thank you so much, Bishop Grant, for coming down to Jacksonville and working with us on a lot of these big issues that we are fighting down here. So I'm truly excited about this call, and I'll go ahead and just pass it over to Trey Johns.
How y'all doing? I'm Trey Johns from South Florida. I'm the executive director of Dignity Power, and here in support of Diamond Ford with my partner Nubian. And I will pass it over to Danielle.
Hey y'all, I'm Danielle. I'm a community organizer based in Gainesville, Florida. I work a lot with individuals who are facing charges pre-trial and advocate on behalf of the community. And I'm also here advocating for Diamonds Ford, who you'll hear about a little bit later. And I'm going to go on and pass it to Clyde.
It's in my ear. Unmute yourself, Clyde.
All right, here I go. My name is Clyde Mclemore. I'm the founder of the Lake County chapter of Black Lives Matter. I'm the executive director for the northwestern part of Illinois for all the chapters of Black Lives Matter in this part. I'm here on behalf of Devon Gregory and Diamond Ford and all the injustices that's going on in Jacksonville, Florida, and around the country.
Pastor Kim.
I pass it on to Pastor Kim.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Pastor Kim from Live Church. My husband and I have been working with every group that has asked us to come out. We have been standing in agreement with everything that they've been doing, and as well as being legal observers to everything that has been happening in the city of Jacksonville. And because of that, we stepped up and we stepped out, because we serve a God of justice. And we wanted to make sure that justice is had for everyone and not just for some. Right now, I pass it over to my son, Roosevelt.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Roosevelt with Black Lives Matter chapter. A little bit about us. Not only are we fighting for injustice, we're fighting for equality along the communities of Jacksonville, Florida. Last but not least, I'd definitely love to pass it on to Mr. Ben Frazier.
Well, hello there. I'm just a little bit late coming on to this Zoom thing. I'm still catching on, guys. After all, who knew what the heck a Zoom was before a year ago anyway? Bottom line, I want to tell you about the Northside Coalition of Jacksonville, Florida. We are a civil rights organization. We're vocal, we're active, and our mission is to stand up and to speak out against any and all forms of social, racial, and economic injustice. That is why we are here, and we are honored to be with so many committed and dedicated civil activists.
Well, the fight is on. I know attorney Kevin O'Connor from Chicago represents the Gregory family, is a stalwart in civil rights and believes in justice, and he'll be joining us temporarily. I want to jump right in. Those of you who are joining us live, I need you to like, I need you to share, I need you to jump in. You don't get wet unless you get in the water. And these are some soldiers. These are some ride or dies. These are not State Farm people. They don't want to be a neighbor, be like a good neighbor and stay on the other side. They want to be on the right side. And the right side is the side of justice and the side of people. And so I want you to like, share, comment. If you're watching us on YouTube, watching us on Facebook, hit all of these pages. Look up all of these people and join their networks right now. Nubia, Danielle, and Pastor K and Trey were in the eye of the storm this week as Governor DeSantis has put out a very egregious and a very non-progressive piece of legislation. It's almost as if he lives in another world or another orbit because it sounds like he is very much aligned with those secessionists and the insurgents from January 6th. And so Trey and Danielle, Nubian, y'all kick in and tell the people what this legislation is all about. Unmute.
Well,
All right.
I can.
Go ahead.
Trey, feel free to go ahead and tell everybody about your experience when you went up to Tallahassee and tell them about the bill.
HB1 is anti-protest bill. It's about censoring Black lives. It's about censoring Black voices. It's about censoring marginalized people. And when I went up there yesterday, I knew all of my amazing people were going to tell the legislator how this bill is racist and all that good stuff. And I just decided to just let them know that I felt that this bill was trash. I feel like the bill was written on the same paper that the slave codes were written on. The bill is an extension of Jim Crow. I mean, it's almost like Jim Crow's first cousins wrote this bill. And so it's just another conduit that they're trying to use to incarcerate Black bodies, since they can no longer put us in prison for marijuana forever. They still need a way to get Black bodies in prison, because if we allow this to pass in Florida, it's going to sweep across the South, and it's going to have consequences. Every bill that involves incarceration incarcerates Black people first and foremost.
Now,
So if we
is leading this straight, but who are the legislators whose name is on the bill? Let's make them famous. Let's make them really, really famous tonight, since they want to be somebody. Whose name is on the bill?
I don't remember his name.
But it's public information, it's public knowledge. People, this is the time where we need for folks to start Googling information. Maybe Danielle knows. Danielle?
Danielle, you speak to this.
I do. It's Rep Barenquín Fernandez, and he's out of Miami. And he is the legislator that actually filed the bill. But we had a lot of legislators that were there on the right side yesterday. And it was, I think for those of us who fight for these types of causes, we all knew what was going to happen yesterday. But it was really irritating to go and testify for 2 hours and have 2 people out of over 100 testify in favor of this bill, and for everybody to just go and say, we don't care, because we had our minds made up. Because as Trey already pointed out, the intent of this bill is to lock up Black and brown bodies. It is to criminalize dissent. If you could have stood in that room and heard the testimony of just the representative who was presenting the bill, people are asking him, some of the reps, well, do you think that this bill would criminalize a certain demographic of people, such as Black and brown people more? He would say things like, well, I guess that could happen, but that's not my intent. And it was so disingenuous because he knows exactly what he's doing. There's no, oh, that's not my intent. I don't think that could happen. I made a point when I testified to say yesterday that if you go before a judge and you've harmed somebody, you say, that's not my intent, a judge isn't going to care. And your alleged intent here doesn't matter, but we know his intent. His intent is absolutely to criminalize Black and brown people and lock them up.
Well, Danielle and Trey, I want those of you who are watching, like, share, comment. If you're interested in this is the kind of legislation Republican legislators across the country were responsible for removing and introducing organizations that they were 1,000 polling places across the country. And we still won this election in a historic fashion. And as Trey has said to you, it's coming to a city or town or state near you real soon, because these people are hell-bound on taking this country from us and making it all about them. And so, as Nubian has articulated, Google this legislator, go on the Florida government website, get the information. We need to start calling these legislators. We need to start bombarding them, and we need to start exposing them. We've got a person in Congress from the state of Georgia who has called the shootings in Las Vegas a fraud, has stalked victims of mass shootings, and has been an advocate for denying the rights of people of color. And we've got to do all we can to get people like that out of public office. And so I need you to like, share, and comment on this. Pastor Kim, you went down there. You had your mask on and everything. You drove. You and Trey and Danielle, you drove down like a real soldier, like you was ready to get locked up or something. Tell the people about your experience. And you're a pastor. You're supposed to be meek, mild, and humble.
Well, I think what really got me going was I'm not into lying. I think what made me really get into my car and drive down and make sure that my voice was heard was when I looked at what was what they input into the bill. What they put into that bill was a story about Jacksonville and the first riots that occurred down here. And what they didn't tell was what occurred. They didn't tell about how the officers were standing around. They weren't paying attention. They weren't really doing their jobs, because had they been paying attention, they would have saw that there was 3 rabble rousers in the crowd that were getting ready to set it off. The peaceful protest was completed. There were people still milling around. There was young people out there because they're at a point where they're fed up. And when you have young people that are fed up, you get that passion, that energy. But what they were basically doing were yelling at the cops and expressing themselves. Now, did they get closer to the officers? Yeah, because they're getting excited. They're seeing now that, they're getting surrounded. So there's a lot of things that was happening to kind of promote and provoke these young people into action. And that's what they don't get. There's no de-escalation when it comes to JSO. It just seems like they were just all action. So the bottom line was, for what we saw when we were out there and what we videotaped while we were out there, which I'm sure they never even bothered to ask what was going on. They just went off of the fact that the officer got injured, but they never looked at the fact that, how did it start? What was going on? You had a cowardice officer that drove into a crowd that hit protesters, that set the protesters off and left his partner unprotected and left him in a crowd of people that you just struck with a car. So there's a lot of things. There was just a lot of things going on in that moment that created that firestorm. And then on top of that, they were only concerned about the officers. They never had concern about the cops, the protesters that they hit. Those guys weren't doing anything. They were just yelling at the officers. So there's a lot of mistruths. There's a lot of hidden information. And I'm just one of those people that either you tell the whole truth or you don't tell the truth, or you're not telling the truth at all. It's just that simple. So that's one of the things that I had an issue with, was the fact that and then the next day they began to start striking the protesters. I got calls and I was getting messages on Facebook, Pastor Kim, we need you to come down. These what's going on down here, they're arresting people, then they didn't give us time to leave, they were cordoning us off, they were macing us on bridges, we're jumping off of bridges. There was just so many different things going on. So when we went down there to start bailing out the kids, and I came with attorneys, we were doing everything possible to try to get these people out. And then on top of that, they arrested a female pastor that was down there preaching. She was just praying for the people. So my whole thing is, where is you look at the bill is now stating that you can't even sue if they do something wrong. So I'm like, well, wait, hold on. You're violating people's rights, and now you don't even have a right to sue. So there was a lot of things that they have in that bill contradictory to what they were doing. And then on top of that, it's just an added protection for the police officers, while there's no protection for the protesters when their rights are being violated. You're taking away every right that they have and every avenue that they have to tell you that what you're doing is wrong, to make it vocal, to get it out there so that the people know. And then the people that are coming out and speaking out are not being honest, but they were supposed to represent the people. And as a retired 9/11 first responder, my mindset is either you tell the truth or you don't need to have the position that you're in. Unfortunately, he's elected, and that's a part of the problem too. He does not need to be elected. We need officials that have where the city, the state, people have control over what they're doing. And if they're not doing their jobs properly, or if they're violating people's civil rights, they need to be fired. And you can't be fired when you're elected. And that's part of the problem.
Well, this is Justice for All. And these are some incredible leaders from around the country. Mother of the Revolution, April Nubian Roberts. What are 3 things that people can do if they want to join the fight against this bill?
So one of the things that folks can do is, first of all, you can go and you can join a group called Florida Rising. Florida Rising is a group throughout the state of Florida that will be mobilizing folks to go to Tallahassee, updating people on what's happening on the bill just on a daily basis. So if you want to keep up with what's happening, please go and and join the page for Florida Rising, and you will be keeping updated with information. Also letting community know when we'll be going up there, how we're mobilizing. We'll have all that information for you. And there may be some other organizations on here that may be putting that information out as well, but that's one of the first places that I would say for folks to go and look.
Ben Frazier, Northside Coalition, has been around a long time from Jacksonville and the region. What's the historical context of this? With legislation coming out of Tallahassee, people like Mayor Curry across the state who marginalize Black and brown people, who don't address the ills of poverty and unemployment and social injustice. What's the historical context of this?
Well, so much of it actually revolves around the disparities that Black people are faced with throughout the United States, particularly as it relates to, for example, law enforcement, disparity in personnel. How many cops are there? How many of them are Black, for example? In Jacksonville, you got 1,400 police officers. You got 300 who are Black. Welcome to South Africa. We have a Black population of 30%, and only 12% of the police officers hired and on the beat are Black. Disparity in terms of police arrests, 30,000 a year, disproportionate number of those people are Black. Disparities. What about stops in predominantly Black neighborhoods, communities? What about walking while Black, driving while Black? What about all the other tremendous disparities in terms of policies, practices, and procedures? What you have here, folks, is a white police force policing Black folks, putting us in jail in disproportionate numbers. Now put on top of that racial bias in the criminal justice system. what we have here with this governor, and it is the governor, it's DeSantis. That's the name that's easy to remember. This is dog whistle, red meat legislation designed to make it okay to run over and kill protesters, okay to give them criminal records, okay to give them longer sentences, okay to make it harder for them to get jobs. This proposed DeSantis legislation is anti-protest legislation. It is extremist. It is far right. It is militaristic. It is undemocratic. It is un-American, and it is dictatorial. It does not agree with the very democratic practices and principles and ideals on which this country was founded. He would have outlawed the Boston Tea Party, which started the American Revolution. Under this legislation, Dr. King would have been arrested when he crossed the Edmund Pettus Bridge, not just beat up, and he would have allowed armed vigilantes to shoot them and drive over them. This legislation infringes on our First Amendment rights, our rights to protest, to assemble, to speak out. And we will not allow this dictatorial governor to run over us. We will not. He wants us to stop demanding that crooked cops be held accountable for police misconduct. He wants them to be okay for crooked cops to kill our children, leave us planning for funerals while the police go back to work and get a paycheck. We want to make it okay. That's what this legislation will do, to use excessive force. And he wants to criminalize the protesters, the people who have the heart, the guts, the commitment, and the dedication to stand up and speak out against these heinous things that they're trying to do to us. It's horrible. We can't stand for it. We got to fight it. Somebody needs to send the governor an email and tell him no justice, no peace.
Well, that's a great segue. We have, this is Justice for All. And I'm in Chicago. It's 16 degrees. It's 70 or 80 degrees in Florida. But I want y'all to know it's getting hot in here.
Yeah.
I mean, it's getting hot in here. When you say no justice, no peace, we got a couple of brothers on the platform. Brother Roosevelt Williams from Jacksonville, Black Lives Matter. Clyde Mclemore from Lake County, Black Lives Matter. And Black Lives Do Matter. LGBTQ Lives Matter. Brown and Black and Lives Matter. The unemployed Lives Matter. And so this is Justice for All. Roosevelt, you're right there in Jacksonville. Tell us what Black Lives Matter is doing, particularly as it relates to Devon Gregory and Diamonds Ford.
What it is that we're doing in a whole is trying to make people aware of what's happening to not only Black folks, but us young Black folks here in Jacksonville. For years, I can honestly say literally for years, police officers been gunning us down. So to be young and Black in Jacksonville is one of the most scariest things ever. It hurts to have that fear when you see a police officer drive down the street the opposite way, because you know for a fact that that police officer is going to turn around, get behind you, and put lights on. It's nerve-wracking to know that if you're in an area and there's a police officer there, what's going to happen. These are things that us young Black folks literally deal with. So therefore, what do? We feel that we're most safer by living in our confined space. And what is that getting us? Nothing. If you look at different housing projects around Jacksonville, it leads us to a point, to a place where we feel like everything is against us. So what is that we actually do have? What is it? Do I really matter? And I can literally tell a lot of young folks are tired of it. They're literally tired of it. They're tired of living with that fear. They're tired of worrying about, okay, what if my license is suspended? What is this officer going to do to me? Am I going to make it home? I guarantee you now, every time you see someone young and Black pull over by the police, 9 times out of 10, you're going to see them going live on Facebook because they're afraid. I just recently had a childhood friend of mine got pulled over by the police, and he instantly went live. And the first thing he said, if anything happened to me, please tell my mom I love her. Now, how is that, and what way is that for us to live? What way is it for us to live to have this bill, which is, by the way, I believe that bill literal name is Black Men, or Hold Down to Black Folks. How does that feel to have a bill that's literally telling everybody it's okay to kill us? So now it's like we have different outlets that's out to get us. So how are we supposed to be great? How are we supposed to stand up and make a difference when you want to approve something to keep holding us back? I'm on the list of other bills that we have, might I add, that holds us back. So,
Well, Clyde shut them down, Mclemore. If y'all want to shut some down, go to Clyde Mclemore's page, and Clyde Mclemore will come into your city and shut it down. He is a shutdown specialist. Clyde, unmute and tell us your perspective on this.
You know, I came to Jacksonville a month ago for the first time in my life, and as I got there, I understand that like what Mr. Frazier was saying, that it's over 30% Afro Americans living there, and they got a police officer there that just shot and killed 5 different people, and he's still working on the force. Now that whole city should be shut down. But I done wrote the letter, wrote the mayor, Mayor Curry, 3 letters, been to his office, marched in his office, and he won't even see it. Ain't nowhere in the world we gonna have one police officer that killed 5 different people still be sitting on our force, getting our tax dollars like it's like, excuse my language, kill niggas. No, you're not getting ready to do that. I know the South is like, wow, but I mean, I'm there. I'm on a flight in the morning because we need to get rid of some of the stuff that's going on in Jacksonville, because if we stop it there, we can stop it from around this country. But if we allow it to go on in Florida, then it's going to be like a spiral. It's going to happen all over. Next thing I know, if it happened here in Chicago, I don't know what's going to happen, man. But I know we're not playing that, because when the police shoot and kill, we want them fired. We want them fired immediately. Then he can talk about getting his job back. 5 people, 5 black people have lost their life. 5 of my young brothers, my young kings have lost their lives. Come on, man. No, I'm not having that. And we got a police officer still on the force, getting the tax dollars. He probably working overtime, getting, So, I mean, I think the town needs to be really shut down. It really needs.
Say it one more time.
It needs to be shut down.
Say it louder.
It needs to be shut down.
Well, this is Justice for All. You can follow us on Facebook and YouTube. This is Bishop Tavis Grant, the National Field Director, with some amazing leaders. We've got a sister, Diamonds Ford, that has been locked up, I believe, well over 100 days. Trey and Danielle have been leading an incredible cause. We're looking forward to delivering, help me, Trey, $500,000 $1 bills to get her out of jail. $500,000 $1 bill. I'm going to say it one more time, like James Brown. $500,000 $1 bills. We're going to make it rain to get Diamond out of jail. Danielle and Trey, talk to us about her cause, because it's a national disgrace what is happening to this woman.
Well, I'll let Danielle tell you about Diamonds Ford. I just want to say that Black women aren't allowed to protect themselves in this country. Tell them why, Danielle.
Yeah. Thank you, Trey, and thank you, Bishop. So, Diamonds Ford is a young woman in the Duval County Jail in Jacksonville, and I live in Gainesville, so I'm a little bit south, but I remember when I caught her story in the news, it was just like a local news station, and I was thinking, like, why is there not more attention on this? Because her case is so egregious. just to touch on
Yeah,
Drew's point as well, I think it's even more egregious when you think of the fact that Marissa Alexander, her case was in Jacksonville as well. And Trey makes a point, Black women are not allowed to protect themselves. And so what happened with Diamonds is police served a high-risk warrant at her household. They allegedly announced themselves at 8 a.m. while she was asleep, and she woke up to the sound of shattering glass in her home. So, like any logical person, in my opinion, would do if they think somebody is breaking into their home, she protected herself. And again, Florida is a stand your ground state that says if you're in fear for your life, if somebody is threatening you, you are allowed to protect yourself and you have no duty to retreat. So as her glass is shattering, that's what wakes her up. She shoots her gun towards the shattered glass. She retreats to the bathroom and she calls 911. You can Google her case right now and hear the 911 recorded phone call. You can hear her on the phone with the dispatcher saying, "Send somebody." She's whispering because she's so scared. "Send somebody, send somebody. They're shooting, they're shooting." And then confusion because she realizes it's the police outside her door. She says, "Wait, hold on a second. Wait, is that the police out there? What?" And then you just hear it go from there. They took her into custody because as she was shooting to defend herself, an officer got shot. He did survive the ordeal, but they charged her with attempted murder of a law enforcement officer, which is why she has this outrageous bond of $500,000 in a stand your ground state where she had every right in the world to protect herself in her home. And that's why we're going to be bringing all this money to the Duval County Jail next week and bring our sister home, because we're not going to fly with that. But what we also want to do is attack the greater issue around legislation here, which is no-knock warrants. And I do want to preface it with saying that technically Florida is one of 2 states that doesn't have no-knock warrants. But as we see with all legislation, when you go into criminal justice reform, there's always going to be loopholes. So the state of Florida says you have to either knock or announce yourself. Well, they announced themselves at 8 in the morning when she was asleep. So that's the loophole there. That's not good enough for us. So we do need to put an end to no-knock warrants, because even though it's not classified as a no-knock warrant, it was a no-knock warrant in practice. I spoke with Diamonds on the phone on Monday night, and she told me, she said, "I just still can't believe all this happened. Literally, all the police had to do was knock on my door. I would have put my dog away and opened it right up to them. And instead, she's been separated from her child for over 120 days and facing this charge. A single Black mama with no criminal history. And that's the criminal injustice system for you."
Well, we've got a video. We want everybody to look at this, hear this video. This is coming straight from Diamonds Ford.
Hello, everybody. As you know, my name is Diamonds Ford. I'm currently at the Duval County Jail, and I've been here for the last 115 days on a charge that I am innocent of. I'm being held on a $535,000 bond. However, I have not lost faith, and I do believe justice will prevail in this case. This is a horrible situation to be in, and I'm grateful that no one was seriously hurt or lost their lives at that matter. I am aware of everyone who believes in me and my story, and I want to thank everyone for their support and commitment to my case. My mama, I love you. My grandmother, Mima. My daughter, Anaya. My cousin, Charles. My father-in-law, Howard. T.I., Diane, and the rest of Grand Hustle. Miss Marissa Alexander, Attorney Crump, Drea, Young Cash, Princess Anissa, especially my attorney, Mr. Kelly, and everyone else who has sent me mail, signed a petition, and donated to the GoFundMe. I thank you. I really do. Your support, it has been my strength. I have not lost faith whatsoever. To my daughter, baby, I miss you. I love you. You are my snuggle puggy. You are my twin, and you are my everything. Continue to do great in school. Continue to be that AB honor roll student that I have taught you to be. I can't wait to get back home to you. I can't wait to be back home attached to the hip to you. I love you. I miss you, and I will call you soon.
Tough times don't last, tough people do. Go to Free Diamonds Ford Facebook page and send a shout out to her. People from Minnesota, people from the West Coast, people from the East Coast, our brothers and sisters in hip hop, our street organizations, people are putting it down to Free Diamonds Ford. And I'm excited. This case is so similar to Breonna Taylor and Marissa Alexander. No knock warrants and stand your ground are juxtaposed to each other. They're the perfect cocktail that leads to the death and incarceration of Black and brown people because the law is not equally applied to Black and brown people as it is to white people. And
Well,
we need justice for all. That's what this is all about, justice for all. And so
let me,
go to
let me
all of
share
these, Pastor. Go ahead, Pastor Kate.
let me touch on that real quick. The issue that we have with that as well is the fact that now the officers are now allowed to use stand your ground as well. So they have not only the Leo bill, the Bill of Rights, they now also are able to use the stand your ground when they are shot at, and as a reason for why it's okay. Or they try to. I'm like, you could either be a police officer where you're representing the agency and the state of the people, or you're a civilian, but you can't have both. And I think that that's a major issue. And then on top of that, then they add on this protest bill that continues to give protections to the police officers. And then when you look at their policy as how they're treated when they're under investigation, and you're looking at what their policies are, they get better rights than the regular people, and that is an issue. You can't even curse at them in their investigations. There's a proper way, there's a certain way that you have to treat them, and we can post that information because it's open to the public, and you can see what that looks like when you look at the Bill of Rights. But as you're looking at it, you're saying to yourself, how is it that they have more rights, but yet and still they're violating everybody else's rights? And that's okay. So there's a major issue, and there's a major flaw with the bill. There's a major flaw with stand your ground, especially if they're allowing officers to use that in conjunction with the Leo bill. That's crazy. It just makes no sense. At what point are we protecting the state? What point are we protecting the people? What point are we protecting the agency and our tax dollars? Because the bottom line is, how are you indemnifying officers when those officers are violating rights? That means that you're now taking the liability onto the agency, which comes back to the taxpayers, because now we're paying for all of those lawsuits. The money comes from the taxpayers' dollars. So there's nothing that they're doing to protect themselves from bad officers at all. I just saw in the news today in the Wall Street Journal that NYPD is now forcing their officers to go through a training. I don't know how that's going to work, but they're forcing them to go through a training that shares with them that teaches them how to report bad officers. But I mean, that's something that should have been going on for so long. It's no different. It should have been going on long before this even happened. So it just doesn't make sense. The laws don't make sense, and they're finding ways to protect them. But the public, we're not protected. People like Diamonds Ford is being arrested for certain things that she should not be arrested for. If you're not doing your job properly, if you're not following certain procedures, if you know that there's a possibility that this could happen, then guess what? There's another way to handle that. There's another way to handle those situations to make sure that their officers are being safe, that the people that they're coming, because what happens when you file a warrant against someone, and like Breonna Taylor, and you're going to the house and the person is not even there, but now she's dead, and you have a bunch of excuses as to why. So it just doesn't make sense at all.
And I want to say, Pastor Kim,
go ahead, Danielle.
I was just going to say also, Pastor Kim, Diamonds was not the subject of the warrant that was served at her house. It was the exact same situation. It was her fiance's brother that had just passed through the house a couple times, didn't even live there, was the subject of the warrant. They showed up to the house, and what happened now? Diamonds is locked up. Her fiance is locked up, and their child is without parents at the moment. And so it's a lot of innocent people getting hurt in this.
We're looking forward. Those of you that are interested in Diamonds Ford's case, go to Facebook, Free Diamond Ford. Go to Facebook and show your support for her and show your support for this cause. There's a family that is on with us, Renee Gregory. John Gregory was murdered in Jacksonville, shot over 30 times over a bogus police traffic stop. This young brother had gone through several occasions of police harassment, police profiling, and his family has lost a jewel. They've lost a treasure in this young brother's life. And we want justice for Devon Gregory. As a matter of fact, we're going to be in Jacksonville on Saturday. justice for all. We're going to, all of these organizations, all of these leaders, but this young brother's life here is representative of a number of police shootings where young black men have been shut down, young brown brothers have been shot down, and we've had enough. Tanae, you're on with us. I want them to hear from you, because while Devon was going through this for well over 20 minutes, you were the last living voice. You were the last living individual. He had the state of mind, Clyde. He had the state of mind, Ben, to call the woman, along with his mother, who has been raising him all of these years, to hear his voice, to hear your voice. Our platforms need to hear your voice tonight, and we appreciate you, Tanae, being with us. Talk to us right now. Where did she go? Gotta come back. Hey, Tanae.
Hey, can y'all see me or hear me?
We can see you and hear you.
Okay. My name is Tanae Gregory. I'm Devon's auntie, and it was definitely a tragic to be on the phone and listening to how rude the police were. They didn't give him time. They didn't give him the nothing. Nothing. They gave him nothing. They say he was agitated, and so were they. And after they pulled my nephew out the car, that was it. They shot into the car while I was on the phone with him with no remorse. And I want justice for him, and I want justice for all of black and brown people, boys and girls, that's being racially profiled, walking while black, driving while black, sitting at the bus stop while black. I want justice so that we all can grow up, and the rest of the children that we have can grow up and not be afraid of the police, not be afraid to drive, not be afraid to ride their bike, not be afraid to walk at night, or anything.
But tonight, talk about the fact that the way that this administration, the city, the police have treated you. Talk about how
They haven't
you
gave
had
me
to
any
fight for the video. The video, the way they treated you all that night. I mean, the way you and Sam
They didn't.
was
They
horrific.
didn't even tell us that he was dead. They told us. They held us off for. It happened at 10 o'clock. They told us to leave about 1 o'clock a.m. to go to the police memorial building, and they would tell us the rest of give us the information. They had a briefing at 2:45. No one awared us. No one called us and told us anything. They got on the news and told us that it was a police involved shooting with a teen, and the police killed the teen. They didn't give us the satisfaction to tell us first that he was dead.
And
Afterwards,
you all stood out there on the scene. Is that right?
yes,
Did
we was
they
out there
turn the lights
ever
out?
since ever since it happened.
They laid his body laid out there on the street under a
Yes,
sheet. Am I right?
yes. It wasn't even under a sheet at first. He laid out there on the ground for a while before they handcuffed with his hands behind his back. But before all of this occurred, after they shot him, they sicked the dogs on him, sent the dogs inside. I was still on the phone. They said, "This is your last chance. Come out with your hands up." After they shot into the car 35 times. And the dog went in there and viciously drug his dead body out on the ground.
So we had an autopsy. Kevin O'Connor, your lawyer, had an autopsy done, and we I think there was almost 20 dog bites, along with 13 dog bites. Is that right, Clyde? With the gunshots, and the fact that was it your son in the back seat?
My son was the driver. My nephew. Hold on. My son was the driver, and my nephew was the. Hold on, my husband can tell you.
Hey, Sam.
Uh, how you doing, everyone? The son was the driver. Devon was a passenger in the front seat, and her nephew, other nephew, was in the back seat. After they took the nephew out of the back, the other
Yeah.
nephew on the car, and then next thing you know, that's when he started hitting the gun, the shots.
Have them to come back. Their Wi-Fi is breaking up. They're going to come right back to us. But those of you watching us on Facebook and YouTube, we need you to be so very serious about this. On this Saturday, these organizations are coming together. Justice for All rally at the Duval County Courthouse, 501 West Adams in Jacksonville, Florida, this Saturday at 1:30. Now, Ben, those of you all who are on the ground there, Danielle got her dog. I should go get my dog, so we all the dogs can be on the platform. Danielle, I know Lauren from the Black Commission is with us, but there are a number of other shootings, Ben, and victims. Talk about them. Unmute yourself, Ben.
Let's go back a couple of years. 9th and Liberty, east side of Jacksonville. Vernell Bing Jr. is in a police chase. He runs into a roadblock. Police officer is there. He gets out of the car. He's injured. He's limping away from the police. And about 20 feet away, the police officer uses this black kid for target practice and shoots him. Bottom line, this kid was not endangering the police officer or anyone else in his neighborhood. He was trying to get away, limping, disheveled, didn't know what was going on in terms of after having an accident. They shot him dead. That was Officer Tyler Landerville. It was a questionable and controversial shooting. Another investigation by the state attorney, 4th Judicial District, and of course, the police officer is not charged. We had another 54-year-old man on the east side, 19th Street. He was shot. He was actually drunk, and they tased him. And as he tried to pull at the strings from the taser, they said he tried to commandeer the man's taser. Shot him dead. Drunk man, 54 years old, wasn't bothering nobody, was not endangering the life of the police officer at all. There have been numerous shootings. There is a pattern of shootings here in Duval County. Excessive use of force. We have complained to the Civil Rights Division of Justice in letters going back to 2017. And we have sent other letters, which is why one of the things we're doing with this planned rally on Saturday is to ask for a federal investigation of JSO. We don't like the way they do it down here in Jacksonville. We think it's just as bad as it was in Ferguson when Mike Brown had his hands raised up in the air. We've seen it time and time again. It makes no difference what city it is, whether it's Eric Garner shouting, "I can't breathe," Alton Sterling in Baton Rouge, Fernando Castillo, you name it, we've got the same thing going on everywhere with regards to the relationship of law enforcement and police and the community. There needs to be more accountability. There needs to be more transparency. We're pushing for an accountability council that will be community controlled. We're pushing for the repeal of the Leobor qualified immunity law that provides so much protection for police. We've got to stand up. It's not going to be an easy fight. We'll win a few battles here and there, but I assure you the war is far from over. And yes, Clyde Mclemore, I'm all for shutting it down. And let me know when you want to do it. Check in with me. I'll be there by your side. And everybody else can try to make up their mind what they want to do. My mind is made up. Let's do it.
Kevin O'Connor was a skilled civil rights attorney from Chicago, has taken on the Devon Gregory case. Kevin, you're with us finally, free at last. free at last. Thank God Almighty, you're free at last. Talk to us about the civil side of this, because even with this legislation, it is trying to impair or impede upon people's ability to have some civil recourse from a legal standpoint. But specific to Devon Gregory, tell us where we are with it and what do you see?
So I hope you can hear me. Can you hear me?
Clear.
All right. I have my boots on the ground, so I'm here. I'm in Jacksonville because I think in this country I need to be here. This is probably one of the worst places in the country of what we're dealing with. Like we faced in Chicago and in other places in the country, we request with FOIA and information, trying to get information from the government, and what they say is it's under investigation. The Freedom of Information requests are governed by state laws locally. So you're dealing with each state and each state Freedom of Information requests, and all have different exceptions and things that they do. We've made great strides in many states, but in Florida, being a Republican state that it is, they don't want to make any strides and don't want to give out any information. And like it took in Chicago 400 days, right, to get video before that they hit it under the old administration, we're facing the same thing with Devon Gregory, where they're hiding it under this administration, saying it's, quote, under investigation, when we know that they completed their own internal investigation of doing nothing wrong within days when they released part of the video but didn't release all of the video. This is a game that they play because what they're trying to do is to shut down or quell the voices to the public, to say, hey, there's nothing to see here, move on. There's nothing to see, just move on. And until we don't give up and we keep the fight going and we keep resurrecting it. If you noticed, in most of these cases, it's not until 2 or 3 years until you really see what happened, except for George Floyd happened to be caught on video live and in action. You don't get that all the time. So what they do is they try and hide it. And we're not going to let them get away with it. I mean, that's the bottom line. We've got to keep fighting for these state laws, and it's at the local level, the state level. It's not just federally. There's federal civil rights laws that protect people, but you're not going to get your evidence to prove your federal civil rights laws if the state keeps hiding the evidence from it. This is what we're all faced with. Will we get it? We'll get it. You know, the question is, in time, what they end up doing is making you file lawsuits and spend a bunch of money to get what you should have gotten to begin with. And it's not fair, because they say, well, why are you filing this lawsuit when you don't even know if there's a case? Well, you don't know if there's a case until they turn over the evidence. So they put you in this vicious circle where they try and put this negativity out and try and keep you out. But here's the real issue. Unfortunately, people in this world that are remaining silent, silence is affirming these actions. It doesn't matter if you're black or white. This is a humanitarian issue. People are dying. People are being killed. Unfortunately, black people are being killed at an extremely large number compared to the white people because of this racism and fear that's going on within these departments and lack of training. But it's a human life that we're taking here. It doesn't matter what color your skin is. We need to fix it. And it needs to be everybody standing up, not just people of color standing up, because they know what goes on in their communities. Everybody needs to stand up and say, hey, what is going on here? And we as lawyers have to make a different avenue or a different showing of what we do here. You can't just, they try and hush us with money and say, go away and, try and come up with, you won't criticize us and you'll hide away, and blood money, I call it. But where has anybody changed anything in this community? Where have we gotten laws or done things to stop this from happening? Now there's the blue wave. It's starting to happen. I have hope. I hope we all have hope that we can make this happen, but we got to go state by state and make it happen. And it's a long road to happen. Change doesn't come overnight, and you got to be ready to go be in for the long fight. As the Reverend Jackson told me when I first marched with him about 10 years ago, he told me, he goes, I hope you're ready. I said, what am I ready for? He goes, we might be here. You might be here all night. He goes, we're not leaving until we get our answers. And I said, well, I didn't bring a bag. And he goes, well, I hope you also brought a toothbrush because we might get arrested today. The words I really wanted to hear. But I said, I'm here with you. I'm here to sit with you. I'm here to march with you. And I promised I'm in, I'm all in. But that's the type of effort that people have that is a different mode and a different mentality that says, hey, look, we're not going away. And until the people in this community realize, the leaders realize that we're not going away and that really we mean business, you're never going to get a response. And so now we're here. Now we're going to take that next step. You're silenced. I can't hear you, Bishop. I know you're talking.
This Saturday, Justice for All rally. This Saturday, Justice for All in Jacksonville, 1:30, All County Courthouse, 501 Adams. Go to our Facebook page. Go to Twitter, Instagram. The fight is on, and we are coming together for justice for all. I know we had Lauren with us from the Black of Jacksonville, and she was jumping on and off. But we're hoping that we can hear from her. Nubian, what can people expect on Saturday as all of these organizations are coming together with all of this energy and all of these organizations? What can they expect on Saturday?
Use my phone.
So, as per usual, we will be organizing a peaceful protest. We will have some dynamic speakers from all over the state of Florida, mainly from North Florida, and then Trey John's coming from South Florida, and of course, all of you wonderful folks that are coming in from out of state to help us with these major issues. You can expect to really hear the truth, and you can expect to hear some solutions. You can expect to hear what our next action is going to be. Yes, once we get our sister Diamond free, we're going to immediately start looking at local legislation. I know I personally have talked to my organization about having a meeting and a sit down with city council first. So, right now, if there's anyone that is a part of city council, or if you're friends on Facebook with one of the city council members, please tag them in this post so they know that we will be coming knocking at their door, and we want them to do the work for the people, which is why we pay their salaries and why we elected them, is because we want our voices to be heard and we want our children to be protected. So when you come to this protest, the first protest of this year, 2021, we want you to be fired up. We want you to feel that change is coming. We want you to come in peace and in love, but still ready to do the work, to get the job done, to get justice for our children, for our people who are being gunned down. It's time for a change in Jacksonville. I don't know how people can live here and just sit by and watch these things being done. I certainly can't. So I encourage you to come out. We're ready to embrace you into the movement. We're ready to train more organizers. We need new leaders. We can't continue to do the work on our own. So any of you young people that are fired up and you want to know the right way to get things done, come join us. And we will be more than happy to show you. So just come ready. Come with your gear. We'll have some, shirts that will be given away. I think Northside Coalition right now is giving some shirts away if you go to their page and check them out. And we just want to embrace the community and let them know that we're here, and we want them to come join us because we can't do it all by ourselves. We need all of you.
We don't die, we multiply.
Absolutely.
talked about, as Kevin O'Connor talked about, the civil litigation, Lauren from the Black Commission of Jacksonville is with us. Lauren, unmute. Public policy is so critical to this conversation. Oftentimes we protest, but it does not transfer over into policy. Talk to us quickly about how critical policy is along with civil and legislative matters. Lauren, I think we lost her. Ben, you had your hand up.
Yes, sir. Am I unmuted now? I hope so.
Go for it.
I wanted to give you guys a status report. Got a very interesting telephone call right before this meeting tonight from one of our 19 city council folks here in Jacksonville, Florida, asking to be a part of our march on Saturday. I'm serious. Call me. Brenda Priestley Jackson, who is an attorney, wants an opportunity to speak against this DeSantis legislation. And I told her that we felt certain that she would be invited to offer her strong support because we need that kind of legislative strength that will change policies here in Jacksonville. I just want to say one other thing, too, before we get away. And that is because of social, racial, and economic injustice, because of racism and law enforcement and bias, racial bias in the criminal justice system, we got to talk tactics, which is something I agree with Clyde Mclemore on. We need to start talking about taking direct action. We need to start talking about nonviolent civil disobedience. We need to prepare to go to jail and get people out of jail. We need to talk about economic boycott. We need to talk about not just shutting down Jacksonville, but the entire state of Florida. We need to tell people not to come here, not to visit here, as long as this governor is promoting this kind of legislation against communities of color. We need to shut the whole state down, not the city, not a bridge, but the whole state.
Well, you heard it from Ben Frazier, North Side Coalition of Jacksonville. Lauren, who is that? Lauren?
Clyde said that.
Oh, you got an amen from Clyde Mclemore all the way from Lake County, Illinois, where it's 17 degrees. Lauren, talk to us about the work of the Black Commission.
Hello. Hopefully I won't get kicked off again. I've been trying to just stay afloat and be able to just listen in. But what the Black Commission is trying to do moving forward is focus mostly on COVID-19 at this point, because we still have elders and teachers and students that have not received the vaccine. They're not even it doesn't even seem like they're looking in the North Side area. We need to set up churches and community centers where people have more access on our side, because a lot of times people can't get over to Regency or one of the other places because of transportation. So we're looking to try to see how we can become involved in providing COVID-19 vaccination points, more access in on the black side. Now, that doesn't minimize all of the other necessities in regards to police accountability and policy. I thought that we were supposed to have continued conversations with the sheriff, but apparently they are once again bamboozling us, with one meeting here and there, just enough to, they think, to suffice and for us to just be at ease for a minute, but that's not happening. We cannot continue once again, and I agree with everything that Ben has said, as well as what April has said, what I've heard. We are at a pivotal moment where we need to change policy so it adheres to it adheres to Black folks. Okay, and policy is changed by the citizens. going to their council members, going to their senators and representatives, and proposing change and letting them know that we are voters and that we have people voting behind us that want these changes, and that if they don't support, then they might not be in office next time. We also need to vet people who are interested in running that look like us, that have hopefully a desire to make change along with us, and to, like April said, join along and join the fight. And part of that is to serve and to sit on these committees and these councils and these, even the smaller committees. People forget about the smaller committees, but we need people. We need Black folks to represent, because we got all these blighted buildings. We have people living on the streets, and there should be a connection where we can revitalize some of these houses. In regards to, once again, the police accountability is paramount as well. But I keep saying, and this is a policy, they need to attack the collective bargaining agreement. You get nowhere with the police in any state, city, unless you are ready to do a memorandum of understanding and get in through the FOP and change that collective bargaining agreement. And if we can't and the only person that really can get that done is the negotiator, which is the mayor. When they go into negotiations, it's his job to also challenge some of the line items that are in that agreement. So those are some of the things we're going to be focusing on, trying to draw attention to.
Lauren, it is really weaving and threading that needle of legislation and public policy. And this coming Saturday, each and every one of you have an opportunity to be a part of what we are doing at 501 West Adams Street, Duval County Courthouse, 1:30, this coming Saturday, January 30th, the Justice for All rally. Go to our Facebook page, go to www.bishoptavisgrant2.org to get more information. Go to www.rainbowpush.org to get more information. We've got about 10 minutes left, and I really want to give everybody an opportunity to really close out. I need those of you who are watching us, who will share this, who will like this and comment. We've got more than enough time. If each and every one of you who are watching see this on one of these formats and platforms, invite 2 or more people, I'm telling you, people make a difference when they come together. People make a difference when they come together. And people like Nubian and Trey and others were working hard to overturn the electorate in Georgia. And what has happened in Georgia, let me tell you all something. There's a new thing spreading. It's not COVID-19. It's called the right to vote. And what we did in Georgia, we can do it in Florida. I'm going to say it one more time. What we did in Georgia, we can do it in Florida and get those people out of public housing. Since they got such a problem, the state house is public housing. The governor's mansion is public housing. The mayor's office is public housing. That belongs to the people. And the only way that you make change is you exercise your right to vote, your right to freedom, and your right to protest. And so we want you to join us this coming Saturday at 1:30, Duval County Courthouse. Mother of the Revolution, give us closing comment.
Well, Bishop, this has definitely been an excellent conversation. I appreciate every single person that took time out to, one, help us plan this rally, 2, just working every day towards making sure that these folks are not forgotten. Also making sure that we spread the word on the corrupt wickedness that is happening in high and low places. I really appreciate the opportunity just to bring in other organizers outside of Jacksonville. This is something that is so desperately needed for Florida. We've got to really come together and unify. It should be nothing for us to drive city to city. If Bishop Grant can get on a plane and Clyde can come fly out, we should be going city to city when things happen. We should be enraged and we should be mobilizing folks, even through COVID, because the murders don't stop because of COVID. You know what I'm saying? The laws that are disenfranchising us don't stop because of COVID. So we can't stop. Like Puffy said, what is it? Don't stop. We can't stop. Won't stop.
Won't stop. Don't stop.
I think it's can't stop. We won't stop. But whatever. We won't stop. We definitely are not going to give up on the people. Look, I'm old school. Don't get me quoting stuff. You know, these kids in here trying to find something to eat and it's 9 o'clock. So that's just how it goes down, you know, for Black mamas doing the movement work. Yes, I do have a husband and he is there helping me, but it's still, it's a lot. It's a lot. And I do it because I know that it is my purpose. I know that God put me in position to work for the people. And I really want folks to understand it is time for us to wake all the way up, not halfway. We're so close to leveling things just on a local level. We're so close to it that we can't give up now. So I urge everybody, please come out Saturday. It will be a peaceful protest. That's my baby. It'll be a peaceful protest, but also a protest where we got to get this stuff out and we got to start really letting them know that we ain't happy with this. So I can't promise you won't go to jail. I can't promise that. But what I can promise you is that if we continue to make noise, somebody is going to listen. And somebody is going to open the door for change. So until that happens, we're going to stay in the streets. We're going to still work for the people. And we want you to come out and join us. We need your help. We need you. We need you to act like George Floyd happened in Jacksonville this weekend. Because what's happening in Jacksonville is worse than anything we've ever really seen and witnessed in the nation. So if y'all not mad, I don't know what's going to make you mad. I hope that it doesn't come to your front door and to your family for you to get angry. I would hope that you would come and be proactive with us now, because this could happen to anybody. I'm Diamond. I am diamonds. You are diamonds. Anybody could be diamonds, because we all have folks in our family that do things and we don't know what that will bring to our door. We have to change these laws. We've got to get our sister out. We've got to get justice for this young baby that was murdered by the police. I don't want to keep doing this, but I will do it because I will not allow them to just murder our children down the street. It enrages me. It keeps me up at night. I have 3 sons. Every time a child dies, I feel like my child died. And you should feel the same way. So that's all I got to say, Bishop. Thank you for the opportunity. And thank you all for just continuing to fight alongside with me. I appreciate every single person, love every single person on the phone. And I can't wait to meet you, Kevin. I think you're the only person on here that I haven't met yet. So I'm looking forward to that, and some of the family members. You know, my condolences to Devon's family. And just know that we're here for you no matter what happens. You know what I'm saying? We are in this with you. We're going to continue to stand alongside you. We will protest until we get the answers that we need and the justice and the accountability that has to happen.
All right.
Clyde Mclemore, shut him down. Last comment.
Well, I just wanted to say, you know, that Devon was an 18-year-old kid getting off of work, getting off of work at McDonald's when this happened. And that really set stone to me. I had just returned home from Jacksonville when I got the news about this, and I immediately caught the next flight out to go out and meet with the family and was there for him. This 18-year-old kid, it reminds me of my kid. I look at my son, I'm able to hold my son, but this mother and this family is unable to hold that son. This brings a whole lot. Another thing is Diamond 4. It was brought to me by Nubian. Nubian called me and she said, "Hey, I got to send you these articles on your sister." And then I got in touch with Danielle, and it's just like, oh man, she's my sister now. She my sister. I haven't even met her. This is my blood sister because I'm willing to fight for this sister. I'm willing to go to jail or go to hell, whatever one I got to go to get justice for Devon and for Diamond Ford. All you queens and kings is out here. Please go, and anybody that come out Saturday, please bring somebody else that might not have a clue to what's going on, but we can educate them and let them know what's going on. I don't care if they're white or black. I do want to say this here. We need our white folks to come out because we need their privilege to get our message out. Their privilege is the one that's going to shoot our message out because we just don't want to be black people making noise. We want to bring this whole thing down that everybody is out here for justice. And I want to thank Kevin, who I know is an attorney that's out here fighting for justice, not for the dollar, for getting us the right justice. And that's what I'm saying. He's changing laws. He wants to see laws change. And I know Kevin personally. And I always say that Black death is big money and don't nobody get paid but the funeral homes, the attorneys and the families and the activists. But I'm going to tell you something. Kevin O'Connor is out here trying to change laws. Thank y'all. And I will be there tomorrow morning. I hope it's a lot warmer than it is here.
Bring the heat with you. Danielle, unmute.
Okay, can y'all hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I'm going to keep it brief because I feel like Nubian and Clyde just speak so well. But in the words of beloved Mama Asada, it is our duty to fight for our freedom. Yesterday when we walked out of the House chambers, Trey was leading the chant of the Freedom Pledge, as was one of our brothers from Black Voters Matter. And it's just so true. And I also want to make the point that freedom is not just physical freedom. Freedom is freedom of the mind, freedom of the body, freedom of the spirit and stuff. There are people who are incarcerated in relationships and neighborhoods and communities. And so it is our duty to fight for our freedom, and not just when we say our, it's not people's personal freedom, it's our community's freedom. So we must fight for each other's freedom as well. And as long as we continue to do that, liberation is right around the corner. So I'm going to just leave it at that.
Go ahead, Danielle. Ben Frazier, Northside Coalition.
We will march, we will protest, we will rally, we will demonstrate until justice rolls down like water and righteousness like a mighty stream. Why? Because it is our duty to fight for our freedom. It is our duty to win. We must love and support each other. We have nothing to lose but our change.
Roosevelt Williams, Black Lives Matter, Jacksonville. The fight is on. Give me your last comment.
All right. First and foremost, thank you guys for tuning in. It shouldn't be a crime to be black. We shouldn't have to wake up being afraid to be black. We should be happy. We should be joyous. What's going on today in our time is just a new revamped version of what went in the times before. I sit here and we look at our mayors or powers to be as the plantation owners and the police officers, mayors, the governors, the field hand, whipping us good old boys to shape. No more can we do this. No more can we be suppressed with our voices. And just like you guys said, so much goes through person my growing up and just to give the thought of not only these young individuals that we're speaking of today has going issues. Think all the other. Think about other ones are right now currently incarcerated for something that happened way back in 1996 or way back in 1990. It's been years that us black community has been what we like to call railroad by the system. Something that wasn't never built for us, something that wasn't never catered to us. Now, time for us. Thank you guys for having me. Love you all a lot.
Kevin O'Connor, straight out of Chicago and Jacksonville, one of the hardest working civil rights lawyers in America. Last comment.
Sorry, I'm quick. I'm not quick to unmute. Justice is supposed to be blind, but people can't be blind to justice. That's what I'm going to let you know. Don't be blind to justice, even though justice is supposed to be blind. And all of us that are not out here watching, not out here dragging people out, or not here making a change, are being blind to what's going on around us. And you got to step up and open your eyes and try to make a change. And that's what everybody's job and duty and goal should be.
I'm going to let Tanae be Pastor K, the live church.
Yes. Can you hear me? I'm sorry.
I can hear you.
So I'm going to say this. What is pretty much what I've been speaking the whole time since we've been out for every protest. It's Amos 5 and the 24th verse. It says, do you know what I want? I want justice, oceans of it. I want fairness, rivers of it. That's what I want. That's all that I want. And that's what I want. As a parent of 6 children, I want justice. I want justice for every child that has been lost due to their rights being violated. I want justice for those who are being arrested while just outside speaking and telling what's going on in their neighborhoods and their communities, because everybody is not able to make it out of the hood. But those that are in the hood, we need to be concerned about them. We need to be working for them and speaking for them and standing beside them, not above them, not below them, but beside them, and walk with them and say, hey, we hear you and we believe you and we understand and we want to stand with you when you're going through these situations. So if we serve a God of justice, those that claim that they serve the Lord, they need to be on the front lines. And that's what we grew up with, watching civil rights movement, watching Martin Luther King, watching Reverend Jesse Jackson, John Lewis, and all our other legends that have been out there for justice. We need to be standing alongside of every child, every parent, and out there as pastors, as leaders, as ministers. I don't care where you serve in the church, but to sit up in your church and not be outside with these people, because guess where Jesus would be? Right there on the corner, standing out with his fist up, yelling, Black Lives Matter. Have a great night, everyone, and thank you.
Tanae Gregory, we are coming to Jacksonville because we feel the strength of what your family has gone through and what Diamond Ford's family has gone through. You get the last comment tonight.
My comment is, hello, everyone. Thank you, everyone. I'm sorry I got cut off earlier, but I'm appreciative and I'm going to fight. I'm going to fight for everybody. I'm going to be to everything that I can be to, anything that I have to get to let everybody know about Divine, even Diamond Ford. I'm here. I just want justice.
Well, I want to thank all of you. This has been an incredible conversation. These leaders are second to none. And I want you to make this viral. I want you to share, like, comment, and then I want you to tag, text, and tell somebody. Justice for All is happening this Saturday, 501 Adams Street, the Duval County Courthouse at 1:30. We're fighting for justice for Devon Gregory, for Diamonds Ford, for the countless numbers of people who are profiled for jogging while black, driving while black, sleeping while black. We're going after this legislation. whether it is stand your ground or no knock warrants. When we come together, it's always better.
Yeah.
People from all over the country, wherever you are watching this, you can participate by sharing it, by liking, by commenting, by texting, telling, and tagging somebody that we want justice for all. It's an incredible time for us. 147 Republicans voted even after the insurrection in the Capitol to still try to overturn a free and fair election. Now, let me tell you something. There's something we've got to learn. We don't die, we multiply. And it's time to multiply. And what has happened before, it can happen again, this time bigger and better. So go to www.bishoptavisgrant2.org, www.rainbowpush.org, and commit yourself to be a part of this struggle. Not one of us can do it, and all of us can make it happen. Thank you for your participation. Thank you for your presence. And it's time for justice for all.
And we thank you too, Bishop, for your leadership.
Definitely, definitely. I still think we need to give them pennies instead of dollar bills.
Absolutely. Y'all gonna leave my sister alone now.
Power to the people. Power to the people. We'll see you soon.
Power to the people.
Bye-bye.